films are just amazing. I've seen the film, so it's great. You know, I mean, people are really loving the screenings and just the conversations. You know, and I think that's just like it's great just to show a different side of voodoo. You know what I mean? And you going.
Yeah, a different side of voodoo, but the side of voodoo, the right side of voodoo, has never been shown. Let's begin there, right? The right side of our, you know, animist way of living have never been rightfully portrayed or have never been sort of like addressed properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
This was great because the festival today kind of shined on every aspect of it, from not only from the cultural, from the religion, from the music. I mean, this has been such a great, you know, day, the entire day dedicating to all the different aspects of voodoo, and especially having yours, like you said, having the white sides, which I didn't even realize as well too. I was like, oh man, this is dope, you know? So, you know, I can't thank you guys enough for, number one, telling this type of story that is needed, especially during this time when we are, you know, starving for culture and to learn more about, you know, our African culture.
Yeah, you're very welcome. But more importantly, I think this was a great challenge for all of us to partake and to go on this journey, for the simple reason that this is a thing that there's a reason why our ancestors never really give any guidance to this. There's a reason why they've never written it down, and they've written it down. I mean, they never did, for the simple reason that they didn't really. This is something that they didn't feel like you could, you know, sort of like randomly share. Also, it is the one thing, the one single entity that we're still hanging on to, as far as the single element of the African, for the continent and for its diaspora, that no one can touch. No one from outside can touch. And that was very clear to me. And that also sort of like levels up the challenge of trying to count this story, because again, you can't go, I couldn't really go behind the curtains, right? I couldn't go into the cradle of voodoo to really count what goes on there or what they do there and what they worship. But all I know is there's countless of deities that we do worship, and sort of to try to appease our interaction on a daily basis with nature. It's really trying to really understand your environment and the nature in which you live in. And,
yeah, but as Haitian, we call it le racine.
Les racines.
Racine. You know, the racine, which is roots, you know.
And that is the racine, les racines that they try to destroy. And then
exactly.
That is the foundation of all of us. And destroy that and destroy the very fabric of our society, you know, of our, once you do, as they say beautifully, once you take, you destroy the roots of a tree, well, first of all, the tree will cease to exist. It might stand, but when a bit of a wind blows, it will fall down. And certainly a tree without roots that's still standing can produce absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Exactly. Because it doesn't have the substance anymore when you lose the roots. So how has the story changed from you from the beginning when you thought of this documentary? I mean, your life journey connecting back, what was the transformation for you?
It was a beautiful transformation, given the fact that in the same process, I sort of discovered what my name also means. My name is the one who was born in the cradle of voodoo. So the Hounsou, that's what it means. But I always thought that Hounsou literally meant from blood, because that's also another sort of like a basic translation of what Hounsou means. So it was quite an awakening. It all was quite a you know, I can't say that I did exactly what I wanted to do with the film. I had to work around what was possible and what was allowed, and also I had to be careful because again, as much as you're interacting with good, you're also interacting with sort of like some who don't really feel like you should be trying to explain it too much. Some really didn't feel like I should be explaining it to it. I mean, to the rest of the world, and so that was also a bit intimidating because we found ourselves in settings that were not very, welcoming, but it was important and it was an eye-opening for me to sort of like address this this issue being bothering me for since I was born. I mean, being born in Africa, you hear various stories about the voodoo, various stories about and almost like I mean, I didn't give him time. I think the s'il te plaît, 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 s'il te plaît. Arrête. Anyway, I lost the tune of my thought because there was too much noise around here. But
sorry.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning that your name means that you were born in the house of voodoo.
Yes. One
of our principal cameramen was Olo Orisha. He has the name Orisha. And he came from a very deep voodoo family. Right. And when I was working next to him one time, he said, no, I don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah. And
yet he was more involved in the ritual of exposing this whole thing, probably more than anyone. And I like that you said, well he's already booked.
Yeah. Oh, he's, but you have elements like that. He was particular because his name means the one, with the voodoo, but at the same time, he's a son of a voodoo priest. So if you pay attention to Polo, I mean, literally, he was already cooked. The baby who was already, came out, divinely protected already. So that's why he was a little bit special like that. And so Douglas knows him very much. But yeah, that was the.
Do you think that he knew that he was cooked? Do you think he knew he was cooked? Because when we were making the film, he acted like he had distance, but he was deep into it.
No. That's a show. Yeah.
Very knowledgeable. He was doing his diligence of like whatever he needs to do to make sure. Yeah, but that makes perfect sense. What other, besides these challenges as well, I would ask you, Douglas, somewhat of what he was talking about. What are the discoveries for you when you were making this film that came to you when he approached, or I don't know how it came about, but what are the challenges and things that come up for you?
Well, for me personally, there were a couple times in my life where I sold everything I had so I could go to Africa to try and learn how human beings and their essential soul really operate before all this happened, before Zoom and computers and industry and everything else. That's very recent. And I remember one time walking through the Great Rift Valley with a Samburu warrior, and I asked him, what is God? And he looked up at the sky and he told me that that's serious, but when you look at it, they are nomadic herdsmen. Their animals are their life, that's their wealth. They follow the rains that give the grasses. And in the springtime, when the rains come, there's a mesa behind their village. They carry up pots of milk to the top of the mesa and they sing to God. And they throw the milk up into the air and they tell God, you can drink as much as you want, but whatever you don't drink, let it fall back to the earth as rain. So I look at that as just a basic fundamental truth of how the planet works. And voodoo goes right back to that same truth. We don't expect people to worship Sakpata or Legba literally, but all the principles of what they represent are still in full force right now. And we have really vital decisions to make about how we treat the environment and ecology and nature. And I think right now we have Legba as the President of the United States, the big trickster extraordinaire, who's doing one thing and telling us another. And sometimes he can tell us the same thing. So this is critical to see a film like this and come back in touch with the essential human values.
I was going to add to one of the things that Douglas mentioned just now. It is one of the attributes of voodoo are actually the very instruments that built the computers that we're using today to even Zoom, with each other like that. The binary code. Binary code was originally a thing of African descent, and you see that mostly through IFA. IFA is a complete demonstration. Matter of fact, UNESCO has it as a World Heritage. So that's I mean, we can go on and on and on and on. But again, the idea for me was to do a series of this story because again, I have not dealt with the certain aspects of those deities. Given the fact that also, I mean, the countries of the diaspora are the ones that are really leveraging what voodoo is. Certainly, Haiti was the first country who actually used that as an instrument to liberate itself. So, yeah.
I think you're still able to survive because of that. You know what I mean? Especially when you're neglected, you have to find your own spiritual force. And I think that's what the African diaspora had to do. And you're longing and missing home. So you have to go back to your spiritual. That's the only thing that connects you back. And I've been seeing since the year return, there's a big thing with the African diaspora that wants to reconnect with their true selves. So I think like seeing something like this, it just really is really profound. And I want to know, what are some of your takeaways from making this film?
Well, I mean, I'm not done with it. I mean, right now, I'm in the middle of negotiating with another company to continue the series, where I need to literally go to Haiti, Brazil, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, and some of those places that are where our ancestors went to the New World, right? To revamp and reestablish themselves. But I mean, I wanted to say that voodoo itself, and certainly certain aspects of voodoo, what they seem to define it as sort of the occult police, of humanity, the occult police of humanity, in ways that justice is, the ultimate justice is done under the occult sort of like a setting. So there's so much yet to be understood, to learn from voodoo, and I so much also need to talk to the voodoo priest, and certainly IFA, which is one of the tremendous aspect of voodoo, but has nothing to do with voodoo itself. It's an entity that communicate with all the deities. You know what I'm saying? It's an entity, it's an instrument that they use to communicate with all the deities as to what is good to do, what is to be done, and what's happening. If something's happening that is dramatic, and they need to seek a solution. They consult IFA, and so I feel like I have another series documentary to do on that subject itself. You see,
Well, we would love to see that.
There's so much to be done, but again, that's why I'm, sort of like I've been saying that ideally I started with the concept of doing it as a series, and Douglas, who's there, we're rewriting the new series, and I'm going to obviously hit all the countries of the diaspora to define what voodoo represents for them, and so many diluted versions of it, all the way to Argentina, in which you see some of our masquerade, the way we perform our masquerade, what it means to us. There's a replica of there's a sort of like another type of, and exactly sort of like they're trying to emulate what we do in Benin and on the west coast of Africa for that matter. So I think there's a lot still to be covered before I can really comprehend what this really means to us, and why is it for a reason, why it never died, why it's, over centuries of oppression is still, very, very much alive and well.
And how do you feel of a film like this in the era of COVID, Black Lives Matter? I think it's because people are really looking for culture and history now. So how do you feel that makes an impact?
Oh, tremendous impact. If you were connected to, the more, natural stuff, and the more, understanding that there are several deities that governs us on the face of the earth, and all of them, the deity of, ocean, the goddess of the ocean, the goddess of the earth, the goddess of air, fire, you see what I'm saying? And you want, and all of them are means for us to really find ways to navigate and cope with, you see what I mean? And so I think in this climate, I'm sure, some Africans do, have that, if that is what they endorse as a religion, or, organic religion, I would say they probably know much more of what's, what the meaning of what's going on in 2020. They would have a very, very clear way of, summing it up for us.
Yeah, because it gives you a sense of like principles, like just for me, I'm not a voodooist myself, but I know like Elegba, like Toussaint, that was, he was definitely, he believe in Elegba, opens many doors. So you could look at it, there's many openings. I think when you close it off, you think like there's only one way. The colors they use. The purple may be like, that's a warrior. There's things that you find with maybe the Cubans, and there's so many different things that.
So many different things, like you're saying. Don't want to cut you off, but I want to indicate also one of the things that is actually amazing as you talk about Toussaint is also the way we Africans name the kids. No kid is born by by accident. And that everybody has a role to play. Everybody plays a role. You can choose to play a lazy role or play an active role. But the point I was making about Toussaint is Toussaint, originally his name was Jean-François Breda. Yep. Jean-François Breda, and Jean-François Breda means Jean-François, something of French, Breda, from the farm of Breda, who owned him. Mm. So when Mr. Toussaint Louverture went into protest and to stand and be the gatekeeper for his people, he, over time, slowly, people started to change his name and literally change his name back to what his grandfather used to call him, the man of all saint, Toussaint, the man of all saint. And the man of all saint, he is the gate opener, Louverture. Louverture, who opens the door to others. And he stayed back, not enjoying the freedom that he championed, but he stayed back and was lynched for that.
Yep.
But so you gotta see, you gotta understand so much to the meaning of his name that, you know, and he's the first one who embraced voodoo and embraced Legba to you know, to really combat sort of the oppression back then, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it just shows you the connection with the culture, and his, you know, he came from Benin, so it's like they have a statue of him there. So it just shows you that connection of, you know, and I think in Haiti, why the connection is so strong, because the slaves were dying every like 5-6 years because of sugar cane plantation. So you had a big African influence, of course, if they were importing a lot. So yeah, we just want to say, you know, thanks for making this documentary, and we're looking forward the other films you made, and you've just been a staple of just like the African diaspora. I just remember from seeing you in Amistad and all these other films, and you always made films with like dignity, agency,
and truth, and we appreciate the truth, man, and we appreciate you taking that mantle to bring that voice out to everybody, especially around this time. Just like you said, you know, this is not, I don't believe this is by chance. Everything is still connected. In the time that we are right now, there is a reason why the doors are opening up. And, you know, the stuff that we've been hiding, that's been hidden from us, are being exposed now for a very specific reason. And I'm glad that you are one of the people that are bringing out this truth to us, because whoever is going to get it is going to get it, but whoever doesn't, just like you said, you know, you'll have the ones that are for actions and the lazy ones. And right now, I think we're waking up a lot of the ones with actions, and you are one of them that are doing that just by making this film. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this new movement that is going to happen, and we might either be around to see it or not, but I know it starts now. And so I commend both of you guys for taking this time to be one of the soldiers, man.
Well, thank you. Thank you for airing the film, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and look forward to introducing you the rest of the series soon, hopefully.
And thank you for bringing your film to the Haiti International Film Festival.
Yes, sir.
You know, I saw this film at the Pan-African, and it was a full house, and I didn't see so many IFFs in Los Angeles. I was like, whoa, you know, I mean, it was just like, but, you know, I just think what you have done to show like a strong Black man, you know, African man, that is like something that, you know, a lot of us emulate. You know, when we see these images on the silver screen, you know, I mean, that's the impact. And I would like to, what would you say to emerging filmmakers who trying to do these controversial or difficult projects about their own culture? Any words of wisdom?
Well, the only thing I can say, because any stories that had to do with the you know, African descent and are so very difficult in the sense that they've painted a picture of us and of our continent and the rest of the diaspora as we have never achieved anything, or we're not good for much. Meanwhile, civilization and DNA, our DNA starts with us. You know, the DNA of the world, you know, the roadmap to everyone's DNA is us. And but given that, I just think that anybody who is interested in counting any of those stories, you must be passionate about what the story you want to tell. Otherwise, you know, there were so many reasons why I almost didn't finish this film. And even some of the voodoo priests, or some of the places we've gone to film, they will look at us and say, "Oh, your film, you're gonna have a lot of problems with your film." They told me right, you know, right out, you know, you're gonna have a lot of problems with film, and eventually everybody's gonna leave you, and you're gonna be left with the film, but you're gonna finish it, and you know, but yeah. And I saw the same challenges as they quoted. I had exactly that. Everybody belt, you know, belt, and I had absolutely no help you know, towards the end, and I had to use some of my own money to really make the film. And thanks to Douglas, who you see there, if not because of him, I don't know if I would even have a film. Mm-hmm. So he, you know, I filmed what I could film. Then I came home, and Douglas had absolutely no clue what, you know. I just had we just sort of like wrote up a story as we could fathom it, as we were filming, as I could sort of comprehend, and slowly. Douglas was amazing. I mean, he understood what I wanted to tell with the story, and he was, you know, just with what we had, he did an amazing job with it. So it was very difficult to film and to film most of the times, and you know, mind you, when they don't like to be filmed either. You know? And some tribes absolutely cannot be filmed. If you film it, if they caught you filming, then you lose your life. Whoa. You lose your life. That is a completely a straight-on forbidden thing, you know. So it's been an experience, but you know, yeah, so much more to be told, so much more to be.
I think too, in closing that, I look at Djimon as being a real warrior in this mission. So, you know, he's a son of Benin, a son of the continent, and yet he broke through the barrier and he came to Hollywood, you know, the land of tinsel and glitter. But the stories told here about voodoo are just filled with goofy subterfuge. And Djimon could have made entertainment that didn't matter or wasn't real or wasn't true. But in being the warrior, he went back to uncover the layers of the onion, and there's still so many layers to uncover. And I think that's part of his mission as a filmmaker and a warrior, to always go out there and find the truth, even if it's a dangerous environment to navigate.
Yeah, I mean, truly, I mean, there's some of the spots, I mean, like some of the things that we shot, like some of the boys were threatened, you know. We were, because we accidentally, I guess, filmed some things that we were forbidden to be filming. And so, yeah, there's a great amount of danger. And certainly, I think making a film like this, I think you kind of have to make it, to truly make a film that's of this nature, that stays true to its, you know, to that nature. It's a challenge unless you're from the continent and have some understanding. You can be from the same country and have very poor understanding of it and find yourself in trouble, because you shouldn't venture in places you know, and if you're not, you know, they didn't tell you to not walk, you know, to not go into the covenant. You don't walk into the covenant. You don't walk into the cradle without, you know, being, first of all, blessed, being, I guess, what's the word?
Proved.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to be, what's the word? And then there's the word for it. You have to be sort of like made to.
Anointed?
Adapt?
Huh?
Adapt or something, or?
It's kind of like an adept, but you have to be sort of like it's kind of
pledged in a sense.
Initiation. You have to be initiated.
Yeah.
You have to be part of the ceremony.
You have to be initiated in order to enter some of those arenas, and when they're dancing, there's certain distance and certain respect to have, as they because they consider themselves as gods. So as they interact with people should keep a certain distance, because they can they're to be respected, not the other way around. So you do have to have sort of like some understanding of the culture in order to film the culture. Otherwise, you can find yourself in deep trouble.
Yeah, you're talking about like this dance, like how far to go, and to get the truth, but you don't want to become that, if you go too far.
Yeah, and you don't want to trespass either. It's not for everybody to walk in there and have a minimum respect. Right. Yeah. So some who do accidentally think that they belong and walk in there, they never come out.
That's true.
I think sometimes too, there's kind of like there's a battle of the wizards in a sense. I think of the scene on the beach in Grand Popo, where Polo had the drone,
right,
and it was flying around, and he was filming the Zagbeto.
Yeah.
And they came and they were going to brain him with a giant cinder block. Yeah. And I asked him about that, like, how close did you come to losing your life? And he said, those motherfuckers didn't know that I'm the son of an orisha. So my power is greater than them.
Yeah, but you see, Polo, at that point, when he gets to the point of no return, then he will reveal himself. He will say a few things and then walk away from it. But then they will know that he's a son of a, not to be played with. So that's the only difference. That's why he would, he behaves in a certain way, and he certainly does not demonstrate like he's, but he's comfortable among them. Don't worry, he's comfortable, very comfortable.
Thank you. And John, any last words? Anything you want to say?
No, I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it, and I'm so thrilled, because that's exactly the reason why I made the film. So to, sort of like it has been a very ambiguous subject over centuries, and that the Western have portrayed it to their understanding what it is, and which is completely false, and just give a narrative, terrible narrative to Africa and Africans. And so I'm glad that it shines light on certain aspects of it, and that even our own people won't be so scared of the idea, speaking of voodoo, or, having to address somebody who's a voodoo practitioner. They are not Satans, they are not, So I'm glad that that could be used as an instrument to somewhat understand a little bit of that environment.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Djimon. We definitely appreciate it. Just your passion, your expertise, and just, really putting everything on the line to make this film happen. And we could see it, the passion, and just me being part of the diaspora, being Haitian American, really seeing that you really went and told this untraditional story, but in a very African way. Like, I felt like you were a griot. That's what it came across. Like, you were telling a story that went years back to your aunt. So I think that's more of our stories are coming out. I think because of COVID, because that we have to listen to each other now. We gotta take that time, and I think this film really shows that you went humbly, but you're initiated before, like you said. So I think that's why you were able to get all these authentic moments in the film.
Appreciate that. Much blessings to you guys, and thanks for screening the film again. And I guess we'll talk again on the next one. Yeah,
we will.
Absolutely.
Great weekend, guys. Again, much appreciated. Douglas, thank you so much for setting that up. And speak to you soon, guys.
We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
All right.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bon, mesdames et messieurs, there it is, man. Is this it?
Yeah, until like
This is it.
This is it. We're gonna have the filmmaker mix if anybody.
Oh, tonight?
Tonight at 6. Yeah.
6. Okay, cool. So I'm not crazy. All right. I was like something because it's 6 here now, and I was like, huh. Okay, cool. Well, cool. Yeah, definitely, man. This is. I mean, you know, I'm telling you right now, this has been incredible. Not only as being a host, but also just watching the whole thing. It's been mind-blowing and inspiring. I'm like, I got a fire in me right now. It's not even funny, and I'm about to shoot like in 2 weeks. So I'm like, can we shoot tomorrow? Because you know, this has been such a beautiful thing, and I can't wait for us to continue this tomorrow and next year. And you know, I commend you and thank you for a wonderful festival. And yeah, let's get ready for the next.
Let's get ready for the next one. Yeah.
Next one.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you, Bechir, for being here the whole day. And I think it's been a great experience just to see, you know, when we work together, what we can do. You know, because I've always heard that we can't work together. But that's what the Haiti Film Festival is all about. It's about us working together and pursuing our dreams and learning new things. You know what I mean? Just, you know, just creating new realities like you just saw with Djimon and all these films that you saw today. You know what I mean? Like, we can really make it happen if we put the time and effort and, you know, find out about ourselves. I don't think there's any limitations, because you can see we're putting film festivals, plays, music, like the things that the African diaspora is doing right now is just amazing. Of the content that they're putting out. And it's like, whoa.
And I guess to anybody that's listening right now, I guess the takeaway from so far from this festival is not to close your mind to things. Keep your mind open, and also understand, like, you know, this is a time where we have to reach out to one another from different cultures, from different backgrounds, from different everything. We have an opportunity to really, really come together in a bigger aspect of it, instead of what I feel society has done, especially with Instagram and Facebook, and just create your own little bubble of people. It is very clear that breaking the bubble and reaching out to others, we can make some incredible, fantastic things. You know, I guarantee if anybody that had a reservation about voodoo, or, you know, never knew anything about voodoo, if you had no idea about it, today's festival opened your mind in a very, very safe way. Like, I didn't feel like, oh man, I'm watching, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is this is the way it should be. And it's huge, because this is something that is controversial in our culture, that is controversial in our country. And here, you know, both of us, we don't practice it, but we are able to be educated and learn from it and understand that it is part of a history, period. And we can't deny that. It is part of our racine. This is part of our roots. So to be able to be that open, man, is something that is so awesome and dope. And I can't thank this festival enough to show that and be a representative of that. So please, anybody that's watching this, you know, stay open and continue to reach even further than what you expect, because you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you. I mean, you're the excellent host today. So, you know, let's just get ready for the next, you know, for the film festival, for the filmmakers networking. So
let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.